Michael Chiesa, Neil Magny. And this is another. This is gonna be a fun fight card because when I look at cards like this and I look at a bunch of people, as a fan who watches literally every card and every fight on every card, and then I look at the card that's to come, and I'm like, I don't know who half these people are. I usually can expect a banger of a card.
Yeah.
So I had a couple of prelims of note to get things started. We had Tyson Nam and Matt Schnell. I included this. This is of note to me because I think that fight is going to be bonkers.
Well, sweet. This is going to be your time to shine because I have no input on anything other than the main event. I know two people outside of the main event on this entire card. I got nothing. I'm just gonna sit down on Wednesday and let the fights wash over me on the rare Wednesday card.
Okay. Well, all right, I'll do my best.
Yes, this is
But
all
we're going to
you.
revisit. No. We're revisiting this on Monday. We're
Yeah,
going to revisit it on Monday because by then I will have watched tape on the card, not the whole card, the prelims,
mm,
and I will have. Well, we'll have this in two parts. Um, Tyson Nam and Matt Schnell are both. There is a fair amount. Actually, weird enough, I did not mean to pick two flyweight bouts as my prelims of note. Um, Tyson Nam and Matt Schnell. I just picked that fight because both dudes are known to get in some pretty crazy fights, especially Tyson Nam. Um, Stu Menagerie is, I can't remember his last fight, but he got like a 30-second KO. It was so fast, and he hit so hard for flyweight. So I put him on there, and also it was really weird. Zaruk Adashev must be coming in from a different sport because if he's not, dude, this is some of the craziest matchmaking I've ever seen in the UFC.
yeah,
Because Menagerie legit got one of the best KOs at flyweight I've ever seen in his last fight, and now he's fighting a dude who's 3-2.
yeah. There's not a lot of fighters in the UFC with a 3-2 record. I mean, compare that against this Douglas Andrade character right above him with this insane 26-3 record. It's
Yeah, yes, but that's it. That is honestly that is one thing about shallower weight classes that I've noticed is the UFC is a little bit more forgiving when it comes to your record. You know, like if you tried to, if you wanted to be if you want to be a UFC lightweight and you came knock on the door and you're like, I'm 6-6,
yeah.
sign me. They'd be like, no, get out of here. But if you are a women's featherweight,
You may be the only person that showed up.
no, I mean I mean even if you're a women's bantamweight, I'm 6-6. By God, you're a UFC athlete. Get in here. We need the
Yeah,
bodies.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So, or a heavyweight for that matter.
True.
I mean, what's his name? I mean, Juan Adams.
Juan
That's
Adams, yeah, yeah,
that's that's, that's all I gotta say.
yeah.
Listen, Juan Adams. He came in. He swung hard. He did his best.
Let us not forget the classic Christian Warcraft.
That's that's a that's a deep cut. That's a deep cut.
Sean McCorkle requested the worst heavyweight that the UFC had.
Right. Oh, man, Sean McCorkle.
And he beat Sean McCorkle.
Yeah.
He beat him.
He stopped him. Yeah, I mean Sean McCorkle for that matter. I mean Sean McCorkle. The only good thing Well, I mean, not good because I have Mark Hunt. I love Mark Hunt. We saw Mark Hunt get his arm broken live
Yup.
by arguably one of the lamest UFC heavyweights of all time,
Yeah.
Oracle.
Yep.
Oh God, he's from our state.
Yeah.
Um, Warley Alves is on the card.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hope he
That one.
wins.
That was one of the two names I knew. It's Roxy and Warley. Those are the two people that I'm familiar with on this card.
And Modafferi is either going to roll this person with less fights, or Viviane Araujo is supposed to be really good.
Yep. Well, one or the other.
It's
Uh,
one or the other. That's the kind of expert. That's the kind of expert analysis you can expect from the Sparring Partners podcast. Leon Murphy again. Leon Murphy is either it's is either really good at 9-0, or Douglas Andrade is getting 27-3 after Wednesday.
Hmm.
Okay, in all seriousness, what do you think about the main event? Let's just cut to the chase.
There we go. Okay.
What do you think of the main event? Go on.
Main event. Exciting fight at welterweight. So welterweight's been kind of weird over this past year. I feel like the top of it's been kind of inactive. I mean, you have Colby and Jorge that have both been essentially radio silent since summer. They're presumed to be fighting each other at some point. Then you got Usman booked against Burns. That's about it. I mean, welterweight, you just had Wonder Boy get a nice win, taking out a lower ranked guy. Other than that, welterweight essentially has just been stagnant all year. So I'm just excited to get. I mean, one of these guys are going to be like an established top 10 welterweight after this. Neil Magny again has fallen into kind of a gatekeeper position of like the top 10 basically. Like he just holds the door for the top 10. Chiesa went on that. He had a nice run at lightweight, but hit a rough patch at the end, and so he switched it up and went up to welterweight. He's had a really good run there so far, but also a lot of his bigger wins have been against some of these older guys that are on their way out, like a Carlos Condit. Um, so I'm excited to see what he does against Neil Magny, who a guy considered to be, he's not necessarily young, but he's still in his prime, I would think, or closer to it. So it should be a highly competitive fight. Neil Magny can still put on good fights. So yeah, I'm excited. That's a good fight.
Yeah, it's a really weird main event, to be honest. I mean, we'll see later in odds and ends. There was a certain fighter who requested to replace um, the injury, right? Looked to offered to fight. Um, it was either
Well,
Magny or so we'll see in the headline.
yeah,
But but yeah, a weird main event, one that I fully expect to go all 5 rounds. That's immediately what I thought. Because both men are relatively tall, both men are lanky, neither man has. I would say that Magny has, in my mind, a pretty clear cut stand up advantage
yeah,
as far as activity, movement, and use of his weapons. His striking game is really well adapted to his body type,
yeah,
in a way that Michael Chiesa isn't. Michael Chiesa, I think of primarily as a grappler,
yep,
and unfortunately for Michael Chiesa, Neil Magny is a fantastic grappler. Well, grappler is probably the wrong word. A fantastic grinder.
mhm,
Magny's down to bounce around and jab your face, but he's also down to grind against the cage.
yeah,
Um, so really, it's going to be a matter, in my mind, can Chiesa overwhelm Magny, and if he can't, he's going to lose a decision. That's how I feel about it.
yeah.
Um,
I agree with that.
so That's how I feel about the main event. I think it's going to be a fun watch. I think it'll err on the side of strategic. I don't see it being necessarily a a
Bar partner.
you
No,
know, I don't see it being Hermanson Vittori.
no.
It being more like uh Usman, well, an Usman fight.
Yeah.
That's it, you know. Um, so I am excited about it, and actually, like I said at the start of this, I'm excited for the whole card because I really do. Um, when I don't know the fighters very well, or I'm not as familiar with them, it's a card stacked full of fresh faces. You know, I used to think that it was because all the fighters in the card they're trying to prove something or whatever, but in reality, it's just because my you know, a Wednesday card headlined by Michael Chiesa and Magny. I'm just happy there are fights on a Wednesday.
Yeah. Starting at
So,
9 a.m.
like,
too. Like,
you know, like I'm down for whatever happens, to be honest.
yeah.
And there's some really great fights on this card. We got a light heavyweight contest. Those are usually fun. They're like they have the I like light heavyweights because they have the danger of a heavyweight with the gas tank of not a heavyweight. So they're usually pretty good. Honestly, I'm always down to watch Modafferi. She is just, for whatever reason, she has like this feeling of like a feel good story. Win, lose, or draw, I come away from a Modafferi fight being like, man, she set a goal and she did it.
Yeah.
Like you never expect her to win. She's constantly underestimated,
Mhm.
and it feels good watching her win. And then of course Warley Alves. I, I'm a huge fan of the dude. He's so explosive. Uh, you know, he hasn't quite been the same since Nowitzki and the gang came into the house, but let's hope he can turn that around. Um, you know, uh, it really sucks because even though I just kind of threw it out there, I also think that it's true.
Yeah.
So it really sucks because Warley Alves used to be a guy who I was like level 10 excited about.
Mm.
I mean, he has a
Showed
win
a
over.
lot of potential early on.
Am I wrong on that? It
No.
seems wrong. Yeah, he won. He beat Covington. He stopped him, right? It
Yeah. Well, one person stopped him. Was that where? I don't know if that was Alves, but somebody stopped
was a
Colby.
guillotine.
Yeah.
It was a guillotine. I think you had. All right, we'll move past it. But Warley Alves, yeah, look at it. Look it up.
Yeah.
Look it up for the people.
Yeah. It was. It was Warley Alves submission. Warley Alves submission. UFC 194 in 2015. First round submission
Whoa,
too.
2015.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was his only loss other than the Usman loss.
Wow, man, good for Alves.